Hello twin flames and welcome to this reading. So there's going to be no cards in this reading. This is just going to be me channeling energy and talking to you about your twin, because I want to really do a video, and this is going to go into the Twin Flames Everything You Need to Know playlist, and there's already a lot of videos in there about this subject, and they've done Divine Masculine journey messages about this as well. This is why the Divine Masculine pushes you away, and why they feel the need to do that sometimes, how they feel when they're doing that, and what it means for you. So thank you for being here, and if you are new to the channel, welcome, subscribe, join our family, because we're here for you every day. So every now and again as a Divine Feminine, we will feel energetically what the masculine feels. And as a reader and as a channeler and an energy feeler, the angels do sometimes put me into that energy so I can experience it firsthand, to be able to channel it and talk about it to you, to help you to understand and grow and heal, and to feel compassion on your journey. And I really experienced this firsthand on New Year's Eve. So a little bit of an overview. I lost my mom in March last year. It's 2022 already. And I've handled it quite well because of my connection with angels and, the connection I have with God and Jesus and stuff. But New Year's Eve was a whole different story. I had a real meltdown over it for about 7 or 8 hours. It kind of, the energy dissipated around 7 p.m. that night, but it came on very strong, and it was the smallest thing that triggered it. And when your masculine needs space from you, starts pushing you away, starts going into fear and pain and panic, it's the smallest thing that triggers it. That's why you can be having a wonderful time with your twin. You can be sending messages to each other, sharing time together, and then all of a sudden, boom, they seem to disappear just like that. Or they seem to block you just like that. Or push you away just like that. And you're left thinking, what have I done? What the hell's happened? Why? What's gone wrong? I thought it was all going so well. So why does that happen? Now for me, I was in the garage very early, and I was moving some stuff around. And me and George had a wonderful day planned. We were going to play board games and, spend time together. And just going into the garage and realising that a couple of the boxes that I had with my mum's things in had got a little bit damaged. It just triggered something in me. And I started going into panic and fear, and I just went into chaos. So I ended up getting all these boxes out of the garage and putting them in the house and trying to sort through them. And it was just making me more and more stressed and agitated. And it was nothing George was doing. It was nothing at all to do with him, which means when the masculines get triggered by something in their physical world, it's nothing to do with you, Divine Feminine. It has everything to do with them. So these boxes turned into me wanting to take all the decorations down and run away and be on my own, and all this emotion come up, and it was all connected with my mum. Moving into a new year without her, and all the things that have happened throughout the year, and everything just bubbled up. And that's what happens with the masculines. Everything starts to bubble up. And it may be something they're going through in their physical world, so it could be connected with their karmic partner. They do or say something that pushes them over the edge. Or it could be some deadline at work that just triggers them. Or it could be something about their own fears, or a core wound that gets triggered by something you guys share together. But it's never about you. Even if you trigger that kind of awakening within them, or that to happen, for them to push you away, it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's not really anything to do with you. It's everything to do with them. So all of this emotion was bubbling in me. And George was trying to be there for me and help me and be around me. And I just was pushing him away. I didn't want him. And so I was starting to say things that hurt him to keep him away. And that's what the masculines do to you. They can say things to hurt you, to keep you away, when all they really want to do is have you hold them. And all I really wanted in that moment was for him to come to me and hold me and tell me everything was going to be okay. But because of how I was acting. And I was being very defensive and standoffish. Obviously, he couldn't give that to me in that moment because I wouldn't have taken it anyway, even though that's what I wanted more than anything else. You know, there's a song, I'm not sure who it's by, and I know you will have heard it. And it says something about, even though you mean the most to me, I'm going to keep you away from me, or something like that. Is it Sam Smith? Or there's a song, even though you mean the most to me. So you mean the most to your twin. But when they are in that energy, when something's triggering or upsetting them, they need to work it out themselves. And that's why they need space. And that's what I needed in that moment, even though all I really wanted for him to come to me and hug me and hold me and say, Liz, everything's going to be okay. You're loved and supported and I'm here for you and tell me how you feel and all those things. Even though he was trying to do that, I wasn't having any of it. I needed to work it out myself. And it ended where I'd sorted all the decorations out. And then I said, right, I'm going out. I said, I'm going out. I'll see you when I see you. You know, I was in the energy I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how long I'm going to be or what I'm going to do. I just needed to be out of the energy of where I was. I needed to go and kind of go on an adventure by myself and find myself. And that's what the masculines do. They have to process. They have to go within and, you know, find their own way. And that's why sometimes when they're in that energy, they need space. They don't mean to be pushing you away. If anything, at that moment, they need your love the most. That's when they need your light and your heart space. And for you to be sending them all your love, because energetically they'll be feeling that. And they'll feel that call to come to you. Okay? But physically, they aren't allowing themselves to have it. Just like I wasn't allowing myself to have it from George, I had to get away. So I went out, I went for a big walk. I sat down on a bench where the funeral home is where we live, because my mum was there for a little while before she got cremated. And I sat on that bench, and it was in the day, you know, and there's people walking around, and I just cried. I just needed to release all this emotion. And I didn't know what to do. I felt numb. It was a very strange experience, but I also know I was also feeling what the masculines go through. And I've been feeling this for a while, that I needed to share this, but this is the right time now, because I feel some of the masculines may be treating the feminine this way right now, or this is the way they treated you on New Year's Eve or over Christmas time, and you're left thinking, why, what have I done wrong? And the angels want you to know that you've done nothing wrong. And that's why in today's daily twin flame reading, with all this triggered energy, the message is never take it personally. Never take it personally. And I was on this bench, I was thinking, what do I do? Should I go for a Costa? Should I get on a train and go somewhere? Should I go for a big walk? What do I do? But I know that I wasn't in the right mind. I looked a mess. I've been crying. I've got a headache coming. And I bought it all on myself. You know, it was all just from something tiny that I hadn't dealt with properly. A box that wasn't sitting right in the garage and it was a bit crushed. It's a material thing, so what? But at that moment, it was the biggest thing in the universe. And that's what happens with the masculines. The smallest thing can become the biggest thing. And they just can't deal with it. So they have to run away. And I needed that time to process. And I was walking around. What should I do? What should I do? And this voice said, go home. This voice in my head said, go home. You don't want to lose George. Okay? And the masculines have that feeling too. Go home. You don't want to lose your divine feminine. Because home isn't just, isn't a building. It's where you are. So no matter how long they are in that energy, where they're processing and thinking and dealing, that voice will come. Go home. Because home is not the building, home is you. You're their home. You're their heart. So they'll get that message, go home, you don't want to lose your divine feminine. Because they don't. And at that moment, I had sheer panic come over me, because I'm like, oh my God, you know, has George gone? What's he done? Because I was pushing him away, I didn't want to know. You know, I even said to him some hurtful things. And I regretted it straight away. But I wouldn't allow myself at that moment to apologise or talk about it. And that's what the masculines do. As soon as they hurt you, they instantly regret it. But their ego puts this barrier up or this block. When they block you, they don't want to block you. They're blocking themselves. All they want is to open their arms and say, love me, love me. That's what they want. But they have to do it themselves. They have to find the way. So that voice will come, go home. You don't want to lose him. You don't want to lose her. That will be the message coming through. And they go home. They find the way. That means they contact you, reach out to you, come to you, send you a message, however they come to you. So what I did, I came home. And George was waiting for me with open arms. And he said, I'm not taking it personally. I'm here. And even then, I felt better. I felt safer because I was back in his energy. It was nothing to do with being in this house. It was to do with George's energy. But I was still being defensive. I was still being standoffish until the energy dissipated in me. And then we were fine. And we had a lovely New Year's Eve. We watched a film. We, toasted the new year in with, the kind of program that was on with the music. And we had a dance and we were listening to the Pet Shop Boys. And we had some non-alcoholic champagne and we saw the new year. And then it was fine. It was like that energy dissipated. And I know that I experienced that for a reason, not just because I needed to let go and release some emotion connected with my mum, but I needed to experience again what the divine masculines go through so I can share that with you firsthand and allow you to feel that, because it was painful. And it's hard to explain unless you experience it. I know you've experienced it yourself. You will have been through something in your life where you just needed to deal with it yourself. And it didn't matter who was around you or what was going on. You wanted to run away or deal with your own stuff, go within. And they eventually come out the other side and come back to you because they don't want to lose you. And that's why he's saying to you today in the Daily Twin Flame reading, he's saying, I can't lose you. Please don't be with anybody else. And that was the feeling when I was walking home. I was walking faster and faster and faster because I was thinking, I don't want him to be with anybody else. I don't want him to leave me. I don't want him to go. And all these fears. So again, I was feeling all this masculine energy of what they feel, all this insecurity, which instantly went away as we looked back into each other's eyes. So the reason I'm posting this video and being open and honest and maybe a bit vulnerable by sharing this with you is to help you to realise today that if your masculine is pushing you away right now, or he seems to have pushed you away over Christmas time or the New Year period or even in the past, that's when he needed or needs your love and light the most. He may not be allowing himself to accept it physically, but he certainly needs it energetically, and it will help him. So try and have compassion. Don't take it personally. Don't get triggered, because the love is real. And I've just done the Daily Twin Flame reading. I know I said I wasn't going to use cards, but I want to really share these cards because this is exactly the energy I'm feeling when I'm connecting with this. So it's the triggered energy. The feminine gets triggered because you feel ignored. The masculine gets triggered because they feel all this anger and rage. And that's what came over me. It was anger, rage. I was ripping down decorations. I just needed to get out. I kind of run away from the house. I wanted to run away. I was like a child. And the angels were saying, you can't run away from your problems. You have to face them head on. And when I finally calmed down, I was like, it's a box of stuff. It doesn't even matter. What matters is me and George and our relationship, not stuff in a box. And we realised that. We learn to think outside the box. So the energy is don't get triggered. So don't take it personally, because if your masculine seems to be pushing you away, you are seen. They see you. You are loved and you are understood. You are not invisible. Your light shines brighter than the sun. And that's what they guided back to. And that's what I was pretty much running back to, George's warmth and light. I didn't want to lose that That's my home, not this house, his heart and his soul. And never take things personally. You are bigger than any trigger and tougher than any challenge. So anything that comes up, you face it. It says release anger by allowing yourself to feel it, which is what I did. And then remember to rise above it, which is what I did. And see things from a higher perspective, which is what I did. And your masculine will do that too. And I know that will resonate with people who challenge, themselves as well to move forward. People who channel the divine masculine energy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. So the next time you feel like you're being pushed away, tune into the energy. Why is it triggering me? Is it triggering you because you feel ignored? Because you feel unloved, or like you're not being seen or heard or understood, or it's making you feel invisible? Or is it because you're dealing with your own anger or the anger from them? So don't get triggered, don't take it personally, because your masculine will always come home, because they are always guided to your light and love, because they certainly don't want to lose you. So if he's pushing you away right now, let him be, give him space, work on you. Don't even think for a minute it's about you, because it isn't. It is his own stuff that he needs to heal. And when he's healed it and dealt with it, he'll be running back to you. I hope this helps. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.